Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos, he's Rice Jr., and we're ready to go this morning on a Wednesday as we get approaching the month of May, and soon it'll be June, and they'll be practicing football, and soon it will be July, and hey, right down the line is football again.
We can talk about it 365 days of the year. I'd be fine with me.
Good Rice Jr., the son of a legend, and around these parts, and getting ready for a big weekend.
You know, I'm looking forward to the draft. I always get interested in the last couple of years. Like a lot of people, I've gotten interested in this draft. You know, it's so hyped up compared to what it used to be. But the main reason, of course, is I'm a big Alabama fan, and Alabama has a chance to set a record for the most players from their team drafted in the first round, which would be historic. I mean, anytime you make history, that's a big deal.
No
Alabama would have to have 6 players taken in the first round to tie the Miami Hurricanes from about 20 years ago when they had 6 taken.
Of course, we've got Mike Amos coming in a moment on Bloom TV, and of course, Steve is back from Mexico. He's been down there for about 6 days, and he's moping around here and getting us ready to go.
Have you ever been to Mexico?
Yeah. I've been to,
you went when you went to the Troy National Championship game. You went across the border.
That's right, sure did. But also, I've been to what's the
Acapulco?
Yeah, no, this side.
Mexico City?
No, the
Tijuana?
Resort side on this side of Mexico. Yeah.
Cabo.
What do you say?
Cabo.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful place. And,
I've never been.
Seems like it, it seems like it's good weather all the time, you know.
Well, I would imagine it's hot. It's down there. I want to go. Put it on the list.
It's a 2-hour plane flight from Atlanta, and you're there.
I can speak about cuatro words of Spanish. I remember when I was in high school, I took Spanish under Mrs. Porter, and somebody told me when I was in high school that, one day there's going to be a lot of people in America speaking Spanish. And I thought, you don't know what you're talking about. They did know what they were talking about.
Of course, everybody in the Goshen area is still stirring over the announcement that Bart Snyder is stepping down as the football coach, head football coach at Goshen High School, and what a great year and what a great legacy he has made for himself to be so involved not only as a football coach but as a man living in the Goshen area that they've had a guy that kids have had a guy they can look up to for a long time.
29 years, I think we said yesterday.
Right.
12 years as head coach, 17 as an assistant coach. We've talked a lot about how Troy University benefited from their coaches that stayed in their position a long time. Larry Blakeney and
Exactly.
Don Maestri come to mind.
Was Larry here 30 years or 25 years?
About 25, I think.
25 years.
So, but Bart Snyder surpassed them.
Michael Amos is coming in bright and clear from his purchase at what is it they call it?
Drayton Beach, Florida. We're in between Blue Mountain Beach and Watercolor.
You're right in between a bunch of yuppies. Would you say?
How many miles are you? How many miles are you from Seaside proper? I know all those little beach communities run into each other.
Probably, mile and a half. Less than 2 miles for sure.
You could walk it, yeah.
Of course.
I could easily walk it.
Yeah, but you're right.
Have the path on 38 that all the bikers and the walkers take.
But you're right in the middle of a bunch of yuppies, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yuppie capital of the world, probably.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm seeing down here, Bill? I forgot to tell you this. The Santos for president hats are already out and about down here in Panhandle.
I love it when my predictions come true, and I predicted months ago when he kind of took a contrarian approach on COVID policy. I said this is going to propel him to the front runner status of the president's election in 4 years, and it looks like that's happening. Now they're going to come after him. I saw somebody did a hit piece on him not too long ago, so he better be watching out. They're coming for him.
I'll go ahead and tell everybody to go ahead and have their noisemakers out if they're coming to the beach. It's Thunder Beach weekend, so there'll be a lot of Harleys and all kinds of motorcycles driving through Troy heading to the beach this weekend.
Well, I'm glad I am not there.
They're saying it's going to be the biggest crowd ever for Thunder Beach.
Well, I tell you what, I am glad. I'm not going to be there this weekend.
How many people do they think are going to be there? Have you read?
I mean, they're talking about 30 to 40,000 people.
You know, I think I read that. What's the big rally in South Dakota or North Dakota or somewhere? Sturgis.
Yeah.
Sturgis, yeah.
I think I read that there were like 400,000 people that go to that one, which is mind-boggling if that's true. I mean, the whole population of the state can't be 1 million.
Yeah, I mean, down here, I mean, I guess last year they kind of had a mild version of Thunder Beach because of COVID. So I think this year they want to blow things out. I tell you what, Dad, it's hard not to want to go to Tallahassee and watch one of those baseball games.
I know it would be nice. Of course, I've got the Archer reunion, the reunion in honor of John Archer, former basketball coach at Troy, and we meet this weekend. Looking forward to it.
I wonder how long Coach Archer was coach at Troy.
About 20, I think he came here in 56 and left here in 73.
Well, think about him. He was there for almost 20 years, and then Coach Maestri was there for at least 25, wasn't he?
I think that's right.
That's
he was 30, right?
31.
Yeah.
I mean, so you I guess West Basilia was there in between.
Yeah.
But you really had two coaches that were your basketball coach for more than 50 years out of maybe 60.
Exactly right. Of course, we got the draft, and we'll be talking about the draft this morning, and then other things going on. Pike Liberal Arts Patriots are second in the state in golf, and I want to congratulate them. There was a real young team that Coach Gene Allen took to the state tournament, and they played very well, led by Jackson Cleveland.
A freshman.
Yeah, that's right. And Morgan Academy of Selma ends up winning the state tournament. And the Pike Liberal Arts Patriot cheerleaders are champions. The Pike Liberal Arts Patriots junior varsity and varsity cheerleaders left Orlando, Florida as national champions. What a effort by this great group of girls. The Patriots arrived on campus on Monday evening with a huge crowd waiting for them, and they were ready to cheer them out. Both Patriot squads competed for the UCA National High School Championship and last week, and both squads were named national champions. Coach Katie Scott and her team were victorious in most all events that they participated in, and they are again not just state champions but national champions.
Man, this is big. When you talk about UCA in Orlando, I guess it was at Disney World.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the cream of the crop. That's the big event. I wish the story would have had, showed people who they were competing with. It was squads all over America, So this is an awesome accomplishment.
Yeah, and you look at it on the they're going up against all classifications.
I know.
You know that's
Well,
what
I know they had to have a ton of different categories, with these things, but still, to win one of them with that fierce competition.
You don't get a participation national championship jacket.
Nope.
No, you don't. You don't. And more Brandon Presswood, he's a sophomore on that team, and Jackson Cleveland. I think they say to see the sophomore or juniors, and
yeah, I read the quote from Coach Allen, said he is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Shot 77. And, when they set up these tournaments for state championships, they set them up tough, and you don't get any mulligans or gimmies when you're playing those rounds. So that 77 was legit, and he's in ninth grade. So when he's in 12th grade, this young man is going to probably be shooting 67s.
of course, John.
I didn't realize Coach Allen stayed at Pine Little Arts when they parted ways as a football coach. I didn't know he stayed out there to teach and coach golf. That's kudos to him. That's great.
I tell you what, the Pine Liberal Arts is the one that's going to get all the acclaim to that, because he is an excellent teacher and coach, and of course his wife is also an excellent teacher. I want to mention Brandon Presswood, Braden Presswood of Charles Henson High School. He participated, and he is in the sub-state tournament recently at Heron Lake Country Club in Mobile. So Charles Henson's got a guy that's going to be playing in the state tournament.
Yeah, I think Forrest told us that they don't even have a golf team at Charles Henderson this year. They don't have enough players, so he has to compete as an individual. But you can do that, so that's good.
Of course, again, we talk about all these state tournaments that are state championships that Pine Liberal Arts Patriots have won. In fact, you told me the other day it was 9 straight going into this week.
In the AISA state
right.
championships.
And still, that is a great accomplishment by the Pike Liberal Arts Patriot cheerleaders.
Well, they got.
I tell you what, Troy must have got some pitching last night against Jackson State, winning 2-0.
That was a great game. I watched all of it, every bit of it, and I really enjoyed it. Of course, I dropped by the Troy Bank and Trust Company tent and got a bunch of wings. They had about 4 or 5 different types of wings, so they fed us real good last night, and enjoyed a great game. Troy scored there. It was 0-0 going into the 8th, and Troy scored 2 runs.
Oh, great game! Yeah, good job.
Pitching,
the old-fashioned pitching duel.
I cannot tell you the last time I sat through a baseball game of any kind in person. It's been so many years.
Well, it's a function of you having small kids.
Yeah. I can watch a Troy State University game, and I don't have any problem with that. I enjoyed it. Enjoy watching them.
Apparently the Troy third baseman got the play of the day on ESPN last night. I was watching ESPN while I was looking at something on my phone, and he made a diving catch, whoever the third baseman.
That was early in the game.
Scott Van Pelt had it on his show last night.
Did he really? Okay. Uh-huh.
Hey, I'd like to see that.
This guy's name is, what is his name? I can't remember.
The third baseman?
Real good third baseman, though. For Troy, we talked last night about how good a defensive performer he is, and in that ballpark.
Is his name Jesse Hall?
No, Will. I know. It's the other one more name that shoots out at me, I think. But Hall might be there, third baseman. We'll find out. We can go to our computers and find out.
I used to watch a lot more baseball than I do now for some reason, but when you do watch it, the drama in baseball is as intense as any sport. I mean, when you get these close games where one play, one walk, one wild pitch can decide a game, it was, who invented it? Dabner Doubleday? He invented a good game.
Yeah, he sure did. And
I would hate to be a mother watching, my child at plate with the game on the line or the pitcher. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is. And of course, Troy got excellent pitching last night, and I thought very good coaching too on the part of I said to myself one time when Troy scored their runs, I said, why didn't he let him go? It looked like Jacksonville was going to concede it by throwing the guy out at second, but they held him up at third, and sure enough, the next batter got a hit.
Got a hit. Put him in.
Knocked in 2 runs.
Yeah, there's so much strategy and decisions that go into it. Whether to run or hold them up, and I think we've talked about on the show that used to be a lot of players stole bases. When somebody like Ricky Henderson would steal 100 bases, that was a big deal, and you saw it all the time. But now they don't send runners or let them steal. I guess they're thinking that we're going to get a home run, and we don't want to risk getting him thrown out at second.
One of Troy's assistant coaches, Mike, and you know him pretty well, had 86 stolen bases his senior year at Troy.
Yeah, he married the chancellor's daughter.
He sure did. Yes, sir.
Adam Godwin.
Adam Godwin, and I sat by him. He was working, but I sat next to him, and we talked about it. 86 stolen bases in one season. I doubt that one will ever be.
I think he ended up making the 40-man roster of the Dodgers in Major League Baseball, but never got called up.
Did he really? That's quite an honor, isn't it?
That's tough.
The big hit was by Logan Century last night, who's Troy's star player. He got 13 home runs and 37 RBIs.
Well, we didn't whip Jack State, but we beat Jack State, and we got some revenge.
And
good job.
And I tell you,
Troy's now got a winning record. They're 20-19, and they're 4-0. I mean, they've won 4 straight. And they're going to have to play Florida State, who's ranked 20th in the country. So maybe they can go there and win one game.
Troy. I was looking at Troy's players and Jacksonville's players. Jacksonville had the best looking team I'd seen in a long time. I bet they were 6'3", 6'4", almost every one of them, and they were lean, and they looked good in their uniform. And then Troy, of course, they had some good looking players too, but they were not an imposing looking team, but they were a very good team. So they beat a very good Jacksonville State team last night. Really did.
Well, in baseball, you don't think of it like football. In the football, you always think about, boy, those guys look good coming off the bus. Or you watch them in pregame warm-ups, and you say, great baseball players come in all sizes and shapes. And
they sure do. And,
I tell you what somebody ought to do is go to an Alabama game and go to field level and walk around next to the fence and just see how big those guys really are.
Yeah.
The offensive line, the defensive line, and the wide receivers. It's really amazing how big a Division I Power 5 athlete really is.
Yeah, and then they also don't look, fat or chubby. You're right. Especially the linemen, But it's not always the case. And what are we talking about with Devonta Smith and this draft talk? Everybody's talking about how small he is. It's too light. And he's
I read an article yesterday. He said you don't have to be a bodybuilder to be a great football player. So he's definitely trying to fight against people.
I know it.
Saying he can't make it in the NFL, which is hard to believe that he's having to do that. I mean, he looks in talks and acts just like Marvin Harrison, the great wide receiver at Indianapolis for Peyton Manning all those years.
Yeah.
You know what I would say? I would say just turn on the tape. I mean, the tape don't lie, they say. I mean, that guy has made so many big plays and big games over and over and over. What's Coach Saban always preached? Consistency. Can you do it over and over and over? Well, he did it for 4 years. I don't think he ever missed a game. So, his size and strength didn't hurt him.
I mean, look what he did for a half against Ohio State before he broke his finger. I mean, the guy was about to have 400 receiving
the draft is here, and it's going to be a lot of talk about, what Mac Jones will do or where he'll go. Everybody I have that I see has him going third overall. Is that right?
That's what all the gurus are saying.
I mean, David Pollack came out yesterday, the Georgia player, he's on ESPN, and Pollack said he's broken down all the film of all these quarterbacks, and he said Mac Jones is more impressive to Trevor Lawrence than him. That's what he said yesterday.
Well, I tell you what.
He said the tape doesn't lie. He's like, I know he's throwing to some of the greatest wide receivers in college football history, but he's like, these guys don't move. He's like, the ball's right on the money every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And his accuracy is unbelievable in the bill.
Yeah, and you can quantify it. Now metrics is the big thing in all sports, and they've got people that count up your percentage of passes that were accurate, downfield more than 15 or 20 yards. So they got stats that back it up, and they say that since they've been keeping this stat, passes completed down the field, which I guess is 15, 20 yards or something, he has the highest completion percentage of any quarterback, in the last 3 years by a huge margin. So, yeah.
Let's go to our phone.
I've always thought that, especially his long passes, usually a quarterback that throws a long pass, a lot of times they'll overthrow them or underthrow them, but Mac Jones was really good at the long passes, too.
I haven't done this in a long time, Rice. Can you do it? Yeah. They don't hold. My bad. All right.
Well, but
I'll try it. The thing about Mac Jones is he's America's boy. He's an all-American boy. He's the
Opie Taylor.
Opie Taylor. He's the Opie Taylor of all the drafts. He's a nice guy. You can look at him and tell. The way he reacts to people and everything. He's one of the nicest kids that probably has ever been drafted in football. And he is.
He has some of the qualities of Greg McElroy, except he's just a lot better than Greg McElroy was.
Yeah.
But McElroy.
Yeah, McElroy's not a big physical guy at all. I used to be in Tuscaloosa, and I'd see him at the bars. And he was not a big physical guy whatsoever.
No.
Now, he did have about 10 of the best looking girls on campus.
All right. There you go.
Hello, you're on Today in L.A.
Hey, it's Will Matthews. What y'all up to this morning?
Will Matthews, won't you please come home?
We're talking about Mac Jones. You got any thoughts on Mac Jones?
I think he's going to the San Francisco 49ers is what I think.
Well, that's what everybody says. What else do you got for us?
What's going on?
I think that,
You would like to have him as a client, I bet.
is Mike in the studio or is he home?
I'm in the studio, buddy. I'm in the studio.
I heard that, and I said, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, you were dead.
Yep. that's a bad way to put it, but yeah.
What Mark Twain said, don't you?
What?
They put an obituary of Mark Twain in the paper, and he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
So he wrote a letter to the paper, and he said, the rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
I think the reports of my demise have been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Of course, Will, it's draft day, and it's...
the draft's tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow, yeah, but you just will see it today because I'm sure everybody goes out and picks the ones they think.
My big thing is where's Najee Harris going to go? If Najee Harris doesn't go in the first round, that will be one of the biggest shames ever.
I think he's going to go to the Steelers.
That's what I've read.
They need a running back.
Oh,
man.
boy. He'll be great with the Steelers, no question.
He's an interesting character. I've been reading a lot more about him, and he's a free spirit, and he'll say what's on his mind. He's got an interesting backstory. But, the proof is in the pudding with him, too. Just put on the tape, and he shows up, man. And in the big games, you can count on Najee Harris.
You talk about Mac Jones. Is this a true statement? If Tui had not gone early, would Mac Jones been drafted that high?
No, he might have been.
No.
Might have been a free agent if that.
It might have been a transfer to some other school.
Yeah. And you know, that's a good point. No question about it. Of course, Will, tell us what's going on.
I want to know who. There is an unsung hero in the Alabama football program, and that is the person that said, "Let's offer and recruit hard Mac Jones, this kid from Florida." When Tua was the phenom, and then convince him to come to Alabama and sit on the bench for 3 years behind Tua.
You know,
they say that Lane Kiffin recruited him.
Well, thank you, Coach Kiffin. He had an eye for talent.
Coming from Bowles High School in Jacksonville, out of all, listen to this, out of all the schools, high schools in the country, I would say Bowles would be maybe one of the top three overall. Bowles High School in Jacksonville, Florida,
for its size,
is a great football school.
And nobody wanted him. He was a three-star. Nobody wanted him.
Kentucky offered him a scholarship.
Yeah,
that's what I say. Kentucky, give you a break.
Yeah. Of course,
they say his dad's a great tennis player, and he's a great tennis player.
Oh, really? Okay.
His mom's a tennis player.
Yeah, it looks like he is the most unorthodox. Let me tell you this: as far as looking, he's one of the most unorthodox looking great quarterbacks I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know, it's just his makeup, I reckon.
You know what, though? He's got natural leadership qualities, I think. If you watched him this year, which we all did, he was in control, man, on that field, and you could see him directing people around, and he was a real field general, and he's obviously confident in himself.
You know, he probably can't lift 200 pounds.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a big weight lifter. You're right. I bet he doesn't lift 300 or how much does he?
I guarantee that guy benches over 300.
Well, let me just say this: 20. How many times did he lift 225?
I don't know, but I mean, we can figure that out.
It's part of the.
You know, he's been compared by Joe Namath, no less, to Tom Brady at this stage in his career, and I think there's parallels. You remember, Brady was not a 3 or 4 year starter at Michigan. He split time, I think, and then he finally started playing regularly his senior year. And his really coming out party was against Alabama in the Orange Bowl. But he's kind of like Mac Jones. I mean, Brady in college was kind of like Mac Jones. He hadn't shown a whole lot, and then when he did, he did well. But then Brady got better and better. And Brady, if you've seen pictures of Brady in the draft when he came out and looked at his body, I mean, you talk about Mac Jones' body. I mean, Brady looked weaker, had this gut. But then Brady got serious once he got into the pros about taking care of his body and working out, and I bet Mac Jones will do the same thing, which is a long-winded way of saying that, you know, I think Mac Jones could get better in the pros. I mean, the more he plays, the better he might get.
You know, I've said
Brady battled a guy named Drew Henson, who ended up being a first-round Major League Baseball pick as well, and then baseball didn't work out, so he ended up being the quarterback for the Cowboys for a while, but that's who he battled against when he was at Michigan.
Let me tell you something, and I've said this all year long. Something that is a little bit unusual is that Mac Jones is the half of his passes are play action passes. He's probably not as doesn't throw as many drop back passes as you would think.
Yeah, I think he does. And I think that's why San Francisco, if they do pick him, which everybody's saying they will, the argument for this is that whatever system they run, they say that Mac Jones is perfect for. It's that old-fashioned play-action, Tom Brady system. It's not one that you need a Cam Newton or one of these scrambling quarterbacks for.
And if you look,
I mean, what are they going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo, though? He's not like he's a horrible quarterback in San Francisco. I mean, does Mac Jones beat him out? Do they trade Garoppolo?
If you pick somebody third overall, I don't think you're counting on him to play. So that's a good question. I don't know.
And old Jimmy's a pretty good quarterback, like you said, and it'll be quite a battle in San Francisco if that's the way it turns out. Do you think he'll go what number 3 overall?
No, yeah, San Francisco traded up to get to number 3.
All right, who are the other two? Who are the two in front of him?
The first two are Jacksonville. Urban Meyer is the new Jacksonville Jaguars coach. They're going to pick Trevor Lawrence, and then the Jets. Nobody knows what the Jets are going to do.
You know, we talked a lot about Mac Jones here, but the Clemson quarterback Lawrence. It'll be fun to see if he lives up to the hype. I mean, since he was coming out of high school, everybody's been calling him the can't-miss kid, and, he lived up to it in college for the most part. I'm interested to see if he takes the NFL by storm like it's predicted he will.
He's more of a drop-back passer.
I still have nightmares the way he played against Alabama when they won the national championship his freshman year. I was scared to death to play him again.
Well, let's say this: he's a pure drop-back passer, and Mac Jones is not a pure drop-back passer.
And he can
run.
He can
hitting the ball and coming back and planting your feet and throwing. He's not that. It's stick it in your belly, and now I'm gonna throw. Whatever.
Will, did you go to the Clemson Alabama game with Lawrence? Lit Alabama up? Didn't you go last minute? We still have Will.
Will.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I hit the mute button by accident.
Yeah.
I sold my ticket, and those tickets in that game ended up going for like $200 a piece.
Oh, yeah, I heard that later on.
Yeah, I did not go to that one. I went to the one where they beat us in Tampa by 1 point or 1 second to go. I went to
Sean Watson.
Yeah, I went to that one.
And
was that an 18-wheeler blowing at you?
Yeah.
Be careful. Deshaun Watson. Boy, you talk about Trevor Lawrence lighting you up. I didn't want to see any more of Deshaun Watson either. We got by him 1 year, but couldn't do it 2 years in a row.
I mean, Reuben Foster hit him a couple times earlier in that game. I don't know any quarterback in the country that would have gotten up. And he got up right away, and I knew then. I was like, man, Alabama's in trouble. Because, Alabama was just blitzing and trying to knock him out of the game at first. They couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
all right, Will. Let's see. Everybody has got Jones going third overall, and then of course Trevor going number 1.
I'll tell you. I'll go through the Alabama players if you.
All right, do.
I think 4 are locks. Mac Jones, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Patrick Surtain, the cornerback. I think they're all supposed to go in the top 15, which would be amazing if you stop and think about it. 4 players from one class in the top 15.
Oh, yeah.
So then if Alabama gets 5 players picked, they tie LSU for the most in the first round in SEC history. And if they get 6, they tie Miami. If they got 7, they set the record themselves. So let's see who's left to get Alabama to 6. You got Landon Dickerson, who's Najee Harris. I think one of those 2 will probably go in the first round. So there you got Alabama tying LSU. You got the tackle, help me with his name. Leatherwood. And then you've got the big defensive lineman, Barmore.
Yeah, and then
so out of those 4 players, if Alabama gets 2 of those 4 also go in the first round, there's your 6.
You mentioned Surtain, didn't you?
Yeah, everybody seems to say he's going to the Cowboys number 10, which would give the Cowboys 2 starting cornerbacks that are from Alabama. Because Briggs is.
Yeah, ESPN's come out today from an article, all their writers, this is Mel Kiper Jr. and McShay. They have Mac Jones going number 3, to San Francisco. They got Devonta Smith going number 6 to the Miami Dolphins. So that means Smith and Tua to be back together. After that, they've got Waddle going number 11 to the Giants. Patrick Surtain will go 12th to the Eagles. And then they've got Najee going to the Steelers at number 24.
Oh boy, I cannot believe that he'd go that far. And he
So
should
Najee
be in top 10.
Harris will go 24 to the Steelers. And then after that, the Jacksonville Jaguars will take Christian Barmore, defensive tackle of Alabama, at 25.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That would be 6. I think that's big news if you can get 6 players out of 32 come from one team in the first. Think about that recruiting class. Now, they're all not from the same recruiting class, but you have 25 people in the recruiting class.
Let me tell you.
You're talking about having 6 go in the first round and 9 in the first 2 rounds. That is just unbelievable. I mean,
then Najee Harris.
NFL teams draft for needs. So the best player on the board is not always going to be taken. It's what that team needs. It's the way the draft works.
You know, the only thing I can see that is keeping Najee Harris from being a top 10 pick is his speed, overall speed. Is that right?
maybe.
He's a 4-5 guy.
Is he a 4-5 guy? It ought to be against the law that he goes.
Well, what it is the draft people, general managers now say that running backs are a dime a dozen. You can pick them up later in the draft. They only have so much thread on those tires. Don't waste a early or first round pick. So actually, Najee going number 24 in the first round is kind of rare these days for a running back.
That spin move and that also jumping over people is unreal. Look at the thighs on this in this picture right now. Who's the great Houston running back? What was his name?
Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell had gigantic thighs. Mike, the Alabama running back Alexander, had just tremendous thighs, and Najee's got the same thing. And Najee's got you can't hit him because he's going to spin off of you. Or he'll jump over you, or he'll jump over you, but literally jump over you, but then run over you. He can do it all. This is the
Derrick Henry lighting up and being the star he is for the Tennessee Titans. A huge running back. Got to help Najee in this draft.
Oh, I tell you, he and Najee are a lot of lookalikes.
But you know what I think separates Najee is he is an exceptional pass receiver.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what's the name of the game in the NFL? Throwing the ball. But you got a running back that you can hand it to or throw it to. I think that's what gets him in the first round.
No question. I cannot. All right, I'm gonna just say this. I've got to say that they're not this dumb that somebody goes that he goes
before the Steelers.
10.
You think somebody will pick him up before the Pittsburgh does?
I do.
I'd like to see him go. I like the Steelers, so he would be a good fit. But
see, he makes things happen.
Big Ben's playing one more year, and then he's shutting it down for the Steelers.
And he needs to. I'm getting tired of looking at him. To tell you the truth, he just. To me, he's great.
Dad and I were in Vegas one night, and we were at the Bellagio. No, we weren't at the Bellagio. We were at another hotel in Vegas. But
the one outside of the ring.
We called to Roethlisberger after he had won the Super Bowl, and he was super nice.
And he looked like he's about 6'6".
He's huge.
a huge guy.
He was a really big guy.
And
with these quarterbacks, what they look at is their hand size, which makes sense. The better you grip the ball, the better you can throw it and pump it, and nobody does it better than Roethlisberger. I mean, just about every pass he throws, he just kind of pumps it and then brings it back. And
let me see how big your hands are. Turn around. Oh, God, you got huge hands. We'll be back after this.
Well, they're not huge, but they are bigger than most people.
We'll be back to
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
This is my chart from Southeast Health.
And you're going to want to make it yours. Not because it's free,
but because it's priceless. Because with my chart, you can schedule appointments online with your provider.
You can email your provider and get answers.
Have a virtual visit.
Get test results.
Refill prescriptions.
And manage your family's health care.
You know how we all want healthcare to be easier?
But no one seems to listen? Well, someone did.
Southeast Health.
To get your free My Chart app,
visit your app store or go to southeasthealth.org.
When something's just right, it's more than a good fit. It's that perfect feeling. And at Badcock Home Furniture and More, that means just for you comfort. Find styles that move you at Badcock's Motion and More sale. Featuring new recliner sets like our remarkable Duke collection or our selection of Lazy Boy recliners. All with no credit refused. So shop what's just right at your local Badcock in Elba and Enterprise. Badcock Home Furniture and More. Just right.
This is Barney at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and I'm here to nip this sale in the bud.
Hello, folks. This is Greg Anthony, sales manager at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Troy, Alabama, offering discounts up to $15,000.
Let's nip that.
0% financing up to 72 months.
We gotta nip that.
Barney, $5,000 over Kelly Blue Book for your trade-in.
You're killing the competition.
Barney!
You know, I think he doesn't get hurt.
Back to today in L.A. and excuse me. Today, Mike Amos, yours truly, along with Bill Rice Jr. and Mike Amos on Zoom TV, and calling in is Will Matthews, and I knocked both of them off the line, so we'll wait to get them on in a minute. But you know, this is a great honor for Alabama to have Mac Jones, Devonta Smith, Jaden Waddle, Patrick Surtain, Najee Harris, Alex Leatherwood, Landon Dickerson, and Christian Barmore, and those guys are natural picks. Every one of them could be a
first round pick.
First round pick.
No, I don't think.
How much do you think Barmore made money-wise with that national championship game against Ohio State? I mean, he was dominant.
Sure did. He became a rich man. Then you got Dylan Moses, Deontay Brown, Miller Forrestall, and Thomas Fletcher.
I like Forrestall's a good story. You know, he was a quarterback in high school. You know who beat him out?
Who?
He changed positions to tight end.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, God, I know that.
Young Trevor Lawrence. They moved.
How about my favorite play this year is when they had Forrestall in motion, and he got behind center and took a snap from tight end, and got 2 or 3 yards for a first down. That was one of my favorite Sarkisian calls of the year.
Sarkisian could draw up some plays.
I'm wondering how he'll do as the head coach. You know, he's.
I hope he does well.
Is that Texas? Is that right?
Yeah, that's a pressure job. I mean, that's like being in Alabama. There's a lot of pressure to win in Texas.
That's right.
I would think that anybody that could halfway coach, it's like going to Georgia but Texas. If you're a halfway decent coach, you ought to be able to win.
Let's all right. If somebody told you who was Alabama's best player overall throughout the years, who would it be?
This year or all time?
All time.
Well, I'm going to go with Devonta Smith. Somebody made the point.
All time. All right, Smith. Do you have one, Mike? Anybody else?
I mean, Mark Ingram was really good when he was there.
Yeah. And of course, you know, back in the heyday, you know, you would say Joe Namath, you know, but he stayed hurt.
Well, think of Devonta Smith, the impact he had as a freshman. He won the national championship. by beating that guy and making not. That was a lot of pressure. He could have dropped that ball, but he didn't. He also had a game-winning touchdown against Mississippi State earlier that year. He got better and better. He was a star his junior year when all those other receivers were with him. And then his senior year speaks for itself, and he won 2 national championships as a player, key role on those teams, the key role, and then he wins the Heisman Trophy. Yeah. I mean, that's the case shut as far as I'm sure.
I'm going to name the school, and you're going to name the best player that comes to mind in its history.
Okay.
Like Alabama, I think everybody would have to say
John Hanna or Derek Thomas.
That's right.
Joe Namath.
John Hanna, I'd say John Hanna. And how about Texas, University of Texas?
Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell would be number 1, exactly.
Vince Young, to a lot of people's number 1.
Yeah.
All right, you're right. How about Auburn? Who would be the one you'd think?
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
Or Tucker Frederickson,
no offense to
a lot of people would say Pat Sullivan.
Yeah, well, Cam Newton,
that's right.
He only played 1 year, but what a year it was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you talk about years, and then we talked about it a couple weeks ago that Auburn with Cam Newton, national champion, undefeated. Auburn without Cam Newton, 7-5.
Okay, I'm going to throw out the school's name. How about Georgia Tech? Can anybody? Can anybody throw it out from Georgia Tech?
It's got to be Calvin Johnson.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right, Calvin Johnson.
Who was that guy that Darwin Holt hit? Chick Ganning.
Chick Ganning, yeah. How about the Florida Gators? Who would be the one?
Tebow.
Probably Emmett Smith or Danny Werfel.
Tim Tebow is the iconic
That's
player.
Right, but you hit it on the
nose. Tebow, but I mean the greatest of all time, if you factor in the NFL too, is Emmett.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
how about Florida State? Who would be
Deion?
You know that would be pretty hard.
Deion would be up. Ward Dunn would be high up there.
Deion.
A lot of people love the linebacker Derek Brooks.
How did Deion finish up this year at Jackson State? His team.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he lost 3 or 4 in the row at the end.
Yeah. How about Tennessee? Who would you think would jump out first?
Peyton Manning.
And
then Johnny Majors, their coach.
yeah. And the Arkansas Razorbacks, who would that be?
Probably McFadden.
No, I tell you, I got one over
Lance Allworth.
Lance Allworth. I had the same one. Lance Allworth.
Dad played against him.
Could fly. And the Texas A&M, who would that be?
Johnny Manziel.
John David Crow.
Either John David Crow or John Manziel, exactly. Those would be.
Got to be Johnny Manziel. Probably.
Johnny Manziel, what in the world? What a story! I mean, you talk about squandered opportunities and.
Yeah, but he came from a wealthy old family. You know,
how about Oklahoma? Who would you say? Who would you say for the Oklahoma Sooners?
Oh man, they've had so many great players. I mean, you go Baker Mayfield, you could go Jamel Holloway, the great quarterback, Heath Jackson, the great tight end.
Billy Sims, the great running back.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of those.
Sims, they had so many great players.
But I think the Heisman Trophy winner would probably.
They had Brian Bosworth, was an iconic college.
The Bos was definitely,
Yeah. Oklahoma State, we're going to make it a little harder here. Who do you have?
Thurman Thomas, no.
That's right.
No, Barry Sanders. Barry
Sanders, yeah.
But Thurman Thomas behind him.
Yeah, Barry Sanders, you're exactly.
Some people think Barry Sanders is the best running back of all time, but the best running back of all time is Jim Brown.
Yeah. How about the Vanderbilt Commodores? Who's the best player you ever heard of?
Oh, God, now you're really
probably Chris Nixon.
Yeah, the brother Alabama, Chris Nixon, yeah.
I don't know. The best Vanderbilt player was probably who was the guy that was?
They had some receiver that had set up a lot of records and.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He'd be a good one. You're
Chris
right.
Nixon backed him up for a couple of years.
Yeah, but all right, this will be a tough one. How about Miami? Testaverde.
I'll make a point about Nixon. I've said this before. You know, Shula wanted him in Alabama, and but they wanted him as a safety. And Nixon, I don't blame him. He wanted to be a quarterback, so he went to Vanderbilt. And how can you pass up a $50,000 a year education? But, you know, in retrospect, looking back, Shula might have been right. That if Nixon had played safety, he would have probably had a better college career, and he might be in the NFL or have had an NFL career as a kind of a Roman Harper type safety.
Yeah. You mean Nixon?
Nixon was a great high school safety, and
I didn't realize that. But
Miami would have been Ray Lewis, Warren South, and then Benny Testaverde, Kozar, Jim Kelly.
Yeah, all right. Those guys, those quarterbacks are. They had Kelly, they had Kozar, and they had Testaverde. Those three quarterbacks were back to back to back.
Well, they had 6 players that were drafted in the first round.
Steve Walsh, that was great.
Yeah, that's right. And how many? They won at least three national championships then, didn't they?
You know, when Coach Schellenberger,
Ed Reed, one of the greatest defensive players ever.
Yeah.
When Coach Schellenberger passed away, somebody mentioned in an article that what if the great what ifs in sports? What if Howard Schnellenberger would have stayed at Miami for 20 years?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He might have had 6 national championships.
No
like
question
Nick
about
Saban and Paul Brown.
Exactly right. And, how about Ohio State? Who was the best player you can remember? Overall, who was the best player at Ohio State? Howard Hopalong Cassidy?
Eddie George.
Eddie George, yeah.
Now, who was that receiver they had that had a great NFL career? He was really good.
Chris Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But that would have been a good one.
And then they had a 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, the only one that did it back to back. What was that running back's name?
All right, Penn State jumps right out at you now. Who's the best player there? Larry Zonka? No, not Larry Zonka. He played with that.
Serious.
Who was that? The big old.
LeVar Arrington was a great defensive player.
Who is the running back that?
Barkley was a great running back that plays for the Giants now.
Yeah.
Franco Harris played for Penn State.
Oh yeah, exactly. And Lenny Moore played for Penn State, I think.
They had Matt Millen, that was a GM. He was in that '78 Classic between Alabama and Penn State. Penn State had Matt Millen. They had another defensive lineman.
They had Blackledge.
Yeah, that was one. But this guy is the guy that for Pittsburgh that caught the ricochet pass. Who was that?
Franco Harris.
That's right, Franco Harris. He'd probably be the best, or one of the best. Of course, also.
That's a great question with Penn State in the history books. How 20, 30, 50 years from now will Paterno be perceived? Paterno, with all this Sandusky horrible stuff that happened. I mean, you talking about a guy that went from a living legend to basically, disgraced at the very end of his career. I mean, that's still one of the strangest, saddest ends to a college football coaching.
Oh, it is, no question.
Legend ever. I mean, you're talking a guy that I was at an Alabama game when Saban was there. 100,000 people standing ovation when Paterno ran out on the field. I'll never forget it.
Okay, Louisville. I've got y'all now. The University of Louisville. I got y'all now.
Louisville's Johnny Unitas, isn't it?
Exactly, you got it. This boy's brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's an encyclopedia of sports knowledge.
How about North Carolina?
How about Jackson, the quarterback for the Ravens? He was pretty good for Louisville.
How about North Carolina? I mean, how about the University of North
Well, you
Carolina?
also the linebacker that was on ESPN with Boomers for so long.
Yeah. Tommy Jackson.
He's from Louisville.
How about North Carolina State?
North Carolina's Lawrence Taylor.
Oh yeah, Lawrence Taylor, but he wasn't that good. He wasn't that great in college, I didn't think.
God, in the pros, though.
No, Dad, he was a first-round pick.
Was he? Okay.
Ray Perkins drafted him.
The University of North Carolina.
You talk about disruptive defensive players. I don't remember one in NFL history as disruptive as Lawrence Taylor in his prime. I mean, he was amazing.
All right, the Troy Trojans who would jump out, no question. DeMarcus Ware, and of course You could go on and on with all these teams. And how about UCLA? Who would be the number one person? UCLA. Yeah, that was a good one. Troy Aikman.
Started at Oklahoma though.
Now he played for two different schools. He played for Oklahoma and he played for.
No, UCLA had a quarterback, Harmon. That's
oh yeah,
he's a star
Mark
actor
Harmon,
now.
Mark Harmon, yeah.
Mark Harmon.
Yeah.
He was, his daddy was the star
at Michigan, right?
Yeah. And,
Gerald Ford, that was president of the United States, I understand, was a really good college football player at Michigan.
Yeah. And how about University of Southern California? Who would you say there?
O.J. Simpson.
I hate to say it, but I reckon so.
I hate,
you gotta get more president. You gotta get Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush.
Yeah, Reggie Bush was a great college player.
Charles White won the Heisman Trophy. Marcus Allen won the Heisman Trophy, didn't he? I believe.
Yeah. It was Heisman U, running back
Marcus Allen was a phenomenal running back. I remember him.
Oh yeah, he was great. He was great.
He's kind of like Najee. He's kind of taller than your typical running back and different upright running style.
Southern Cal had a lot of great players. They had a great coach though too.
They did.
And he was like Bear Bryant out there out west.
But then he went to the pros, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's right. And then had a horrible, horrible record. Did you know that?
He finally got him going.
I think he lost something like 20-something straight games or something like that. And
isn't amazing that Bryant never left for the money like the rest of these guys. That would have tarnished Bryant's legacy.
Yeah.
If he would have left for one of these pro jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder. I don't know. He might not have been a good
pro player. It's like I think Saban figured. These things you can do or get away with a college kid, it's a little harder to get away with a grown man.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you a unsung coach, and believe it or not, he wrote me a letter and invited me to come to a game. But Ken Meyer, does that name ring a bell?
A little bit.
Ken Meyer was the offensive coach for Alabama in Bryant's, when Namath was there and three other players. And Ken Meyer became his coach at the Jets. Ken Meyer went with him to the Jets.
Joe Namath?
Yeah, went with Joe Namath to the Jets. So.
They say everybody says Joe Namath was a great teammate, and he was well liked by his teammates.
Of course.
So Dad, if you had to play a round of golf in your lifetime, and you had one Alabama quarterback to play golf with and hang out with, would it have been Kenny Stabler or Joe Namath?
Kenny Stabler. I would say, I don't know. Kenny Stabler was a fun guy. I knew him personally.
I tell you what, the celebrity of Namath would have been hard to pass up.
That's right. And he could hit it. They say he could go out and really hit the golf ball too.
Joe Namath could?
Yeah. He's just a great athlete.
I still remember watching the Brady Bunch when I was a little kid. Joe Namath was on there, and he was just like a superhero even back then.
Oh, I just finished watching Mad Men, binge watching it, and they had some references to Joe Namath in the Mad Men TV series. Also had a reference to Alabama that was thrown in there. Did y'all catch that? It was, they went from like 1962 to 1969. In one episode, somebody had said he'd just come back from the Cotton Bowl where he watched Alabama play Texas A&M.
That's right. No, it was Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma.
No, moved out to California.
Yeah. But Alabama did play
let me just tell
Texas A&M in the 67 Cotton Bowl.
Alabama never played Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl. No, wait a minute. They did.
Because Beebe Stallings beat Coach Bryant, and that's the game where Coach Bryant picked up Beebe Stallings after the game and hugged him.
I was thinking Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl when let me tell you a little story here. Oklahoma is playing Alabama in the Orange Bowl, and the quarterback for Oklahoma was I can't remember, but Namath was and Leroy Jordan.
That's one he had 30 tackles.
Everybody was talking about what a great player Leroy Jordan was. Of course, President Kennedy was at the game. And Leroy made something like 30 tackles. It was unbelievable. And Alabama won the game convincingly, and that was one of the heydays of Alabama football.
That was 1962. That was the year after Dad graduated. You know, that team lost. So Alabama wins 11-0, wins the national championship. The next year, they blow out Oklahoma, or, as you mentioned, in the Orange Bowl, and they lost one game 8-7 to Georgia Tech.
That's right. I remember that.
So what if one play goes Alabama's way that game? You know, you might have back-to-back national champions.
Of course, that was, the Chick Granting incident was when Chick Granting, a linebacker for Alabama, hit.
No, he was Darwin Holt.
Darwin Holt hit. I'm sorry about that. Darwin Holt hit Chick Granting and put him in the hospital. And the next year, and this is the truth, I've got pictures to prove it. Bear Bryant, when he came out on the field at Georgia Tech, had to wear a helmet, a Alabama helmet. He was to protect himself. I don't know if he did that as some kind of ploy or anything like that, but he actually walked out on the field and walked back at halftime
from the whiskey bottles.
Yeah.
You know, Dad, my father was on the field in the Darwin Holt Chip Granting incident. It was a punt return. They were punting to Alabama, and it's an infamous play. You know, the Darwin Holt hit him with a flipper, and it was a big scandal. Darwin Holt and Alabama said it was just accidental play in football, but Dad was on the field on that play. And then Darwin Holt later lived in Troy for a little while. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, he sold insurance.
He worked with Barton Green.
I got to talk to him some. It was a lot of fun. When you're looking at teams and looking at some of the teams of the '60s, if you mention Georgia, what two great athletes would stand out to you?
Fran Tarkenton and Herschel Walker.
All right, and Herschel Walker. I would throw in Pat Dye too.
That's how he was good.
But you look at Georgia Tech back then, the Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets.
They were good.
And who would jump out at you? Former
their star player was Bill Curry.
That's right.
I'll tell you, I'm talking a lot about Dad today, but Dad played service ball with Pat Dye after they both tried to make it in the pros, and they were both in the ROTC, so they had military commissions, and they played for Fort Benning's football team, which is like a semi-pro football.
So I mean, they were like in full paths, just playing regular football, just like
it was
like a minor league of.
It was a lot of ex-college football stars and players and some former pros, and it was interesting that they had this, but they didn't take it super seriously, but they were some good teams. And They're probably in phenomenal shape, weren't they? I don't know. I mean, it was.
Being in the military.
It was a walk in park compared to what they went through in college, but Dad got to be real good friends with Pat Dye and was a teammate with him, and Dad says Pat Dye was a bad man on the football field. Yeah. There's no doubt who was Dad thinks was probably pretty good, but there was no doubt that who was the alpha dog on that Fort Benning football team. It was Pat Dye.
In '57, Auburn won the national championship. And they had two players that were really, really good. They were linemen. One of them was from Fort Walton Beach, and the other one was from a little old town out here on the other side of Selma. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Camden?
What? No, not from Camden. He was from the little, right on the drag, like you go into Mississippi.
Butler?
No, not Butler. It's close. You're very close. But I was, they were household words in Auburn back then, and I'm trying to think of it myself.
Didn't Auburn win the national championship and go right into probation?
No, they were on probation when they won it.
Yeah, they won in 1950.
So that's why
I can't give a team a national championship when you're on probation.
Well, one wire service wouldn't do it, and one did. So it was. I don't know if they won the UPI or the AP, but they might have won both of them. But they won one. I mean, I don't even know what it was about, but I mean, the players won the games on the field. But you're right. I mean, Auburn also.
If that's the case, Auburn under Terry Bowden's first year, 11-0.
Yeah.
I want to mention
that kept them from being contention.
I want to ask you all of this. Who is the center on that team, on an Auburn team? Do y'all know? He was from Troy.
Peggy Cox's brother.
Right. Bob Scarborough.
He was
Bob
a great
Scarborough
one.
from Troy was the center on that team that won the national
Wasn't he
championship.
like a captain or something?
Yeah,
He was.
that's right.
He was a big time player.
And and one of the I'm trying to think of his name right off the bat, but it wasn't many Troy people that played for him, but he did.
Oh,
and at Georgia Tech, there was a Troy guy that played on it, and his name was M.A. Davis. M.A. Davis was a player on that Georgia the Georgia teams under the legendary coach.
Talking about Auburn players from Troy, Michael, did you see the big story in AL.com about Zach Etheridge?
Yeah, I was looking at that yesterday. I didn't actually read it. I need to go back and read it.
Well, there's a big feature story on Charles Henderson and Troy product, Zach Etheridge being the new defensive back coach at Auburn.
Yeah.
And I emailed the author and said, man, you need to edit your story and include that he's from Troy and Charles Henderson High School. That wasn't anywhere in the story. I never heard back from him. But.
Well, that was good of you to do that.
But yeah, it just talks about how happy he was to be coming back home, and how much he believes in the Auburn creed, and he's got a lot of respect because he's the only person on that staff that won a national championship. In 2010.
Yeah, and he came back from a broken neck. I mean, how he was able to play and win a national championship and start, it's pretty phenomenal.
All right, the two guys that stood out at Auburn, there were a lot of them. Billy Atkins was in 57, and Ed Dice, and a lot of good ones. But everybody, when you look, you mentioned Auburn University in 1957. Who would it be?
Was Vince Dooley on that team?
No, he was older.
Time for a new beginning with Bob James?
No, but I will tell you this: that if Bob James was on that team, I think
he might have
been before, a little bit before. Zeke Smith and Jackie Burkett.
That's right. Yeah,
they were two linemen, but they were the stalwarts of Auburn's football team in 1957 that won the national championship. Zeke Smith came from a little bitty town of. Mike, come on the other side of Selma. Tell me about it.
I don't know. I'm running out.
I want to tell you a story, but Bobby, my little brother.
What? I mean, was he from Demopolis?
No, but another. Whatever, before you get to Demopolis, what's the name of that town?
Man, Uniontown.
Yeah, Uniontown. Uniontown. You're brilliant, son.
I'm going to tell you a Zeke Smith story that I had never heard. It involves my dad, and my little brother Bobby just told it to me. Dad is at the hangout in Panama City Beach.
Oh, boy.
Doing the bop, probably.
That's right.
1957, high school, graduated from high school, just big, going to play football at Alabama, big guy. Thought, probably full of himself. So he's down there and he's dancing with some girl, and some guy, big athletic looking guy, comes in and taps my dad on the shoulder and says, I want the next dance. And Dad says, no, leave me alone. And then, the guy comes back later. Watch out! I want to get this next dance. And Dad says no. And he comes back a third time, and Dad says, "Listen, buddy, you want to fight over this?" And I'm dancing with this girl right here. And then somebody comes up and tells Dad, "You know that's Zeke Smith of Auburn."
Yeah.
And Dad says, "Hey, go ahead, you can have it."
But you know what? Zeke Smith's having to look up at him, though. Bill Rice is 6'5" or 6'6", and he had to look up at it. Your daddy next to, I'm trying to think of some bigger guys, but very few people are bigger than your daddy.
Bud Casey and your dad were two giants next to each other.
Yeah.
Well, that was tall.
Yeah.
Back then he was pretty skinny, but yeah, he was 6'6" or 6'5".
Yeah.
Bud was tall. Bud was big.
Bud was 6'6" at least.
Yeah, Bud's huge.
The Tucker Frederickson, he's one of the most awesome looking guys I ever saw at Auburn. He would look like Hercules. He was just that well built. And one day I was out at this old Sutton Burger. No, not the burger, but Red Waves. Eating a hamburger and sitting around shooting the bull like everybody else was back in those days. And somebody told me, he said, Tucker Frederickson's in that car out there. And it was a sports car and everything, real nice looking. And we walked up and there was Tucker Frederickson. And he looked great as a player. And he back then you heard of band line shirts. They call them band lines. And they're nylon shirts, but that was the thing back then. And he used to advertise for them, national advertise of that shirt.
Well, that was a great Auburn team. They ran the table. I think they just coasted by everybody, if I recall the scores.
I was trying to think of the quarterback at Auburn before, a little bit after. It was the same quarterback with Tucker Frederickson. And what was his name? He was from Birmingham, Mike. Pretty well known quarterback.
Bobby somebody?
No. I'm trying to. It's oh gosh, you got Tucker Frederickson and can't remember. But they were the combination. They were the heroes at Auburn after the 57 team.
Shug Jordan was the coach. Shug Jordan was a real war hero, buddy. I mean, he, from what I gather, he was in the Pacific in some of the worst fighting in those islands, trying to get to Japan. And I think at one time he coached basketball too. And
yeah, he actually went over 100 games coaching basketball. I think I read.
At Auburn?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
that. Yeah, that one day. Yeah, his record is phenomenal and everything.
He was a real gentleman. Yes and then no, Carl. And my mama is the Farm Bureau man. That's why I remember Auburn football being sponsored by Farm Bureau.
I just got a text from Chris Amos. He tells me I'm looking at the ceiling too much.
Chris Amos.
I tell you what, when you're on Zoom, when I'm like talking and when I'm looking straight ahead,
you look good then.
I'm fine, but when I'm not talking, I'm like this. I think a lot.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break. It's brought to you by Premier.
Hey, Chris, thanks for watching.
Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass in Troy, where they've got a tremendous sale on used cars and trucks, and of course those beautiful cars and trucks, the Jeep, the Ram truck, and all the wonderful cars that they've got out at.
You got one of them, don't you?
Yes, sir. And I drive it with pride. Got a truck.
I've driven it. It is great.
And I enjoy it very much. And I bought it from Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram truck. I want to say good morning to my good friend Jason Gregory and all the folks that are selling cars in Troy, Alabama. We'll be back in just a moment.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since
Chris
forever.
ever play football, or does he just play baseball?
No.
Oh, friends, you don't want to miss this. The $79 Eliminator sale this Saturday only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy. And yes, you can get a car for $79. Done deal. Or $79 down or $79 a month. Get there and pre-register at 8 a.m. At 9:45, we open the gates. Find the vehicle you're in love with, and you'll have first chance when the Eliminator comes around at 10 a.m. sharp. Slashing prices. Don't worry about the weather. Just be there. Call right now for details. 334-403-4646. It's this Saturday only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy. Don't miss it.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Hi, Sandy. I'm right here. Come on in.
Debbie, I'm right here.
Hello, Miss Mary. I'm right here.
I'm right here.
Since 1969, we've been right here. Because at Troy Regional Medical Center, we take these words to heart.
I'm right here. Thank you.
Remarkable people, remarkable care.
It's the eve of the draft. What time will the draft start, Mike? Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram Truck on the bypass, and we've got all kinds of great sales going on. They'll beat anybody's price. I mean anybody's price.
We missed the 10-year anniversary of the horrible tornadoes in Tuscaloosa yesterday. I was living on 15th Street, working at the University of Alabama. I was managing the Bryant Conference Center, and I'll never forget, Dad was live on the air, and I was driving back from Birmingham. I was dating a girl over in Mountain Brook, and thank God I was, because I would go and see her every Wednesday, and thank goodness I left my condo on 15th Street, and everything around me was just gone when I went back the next day. I had to park about 2 miles to walk to my condo, which had been hit, and get as much luggage as I could out to go stay at Neil Green, the sheriff's house. Him and his wife Curry put me up for about 2.5 weeks. But hard to believe that was 10 years ago to this day.
Did your actual unit get some damage? Or?
Oh, yeah. My unit was totally ransacked. Every car in the parking lot was totaled. Right next to me was a Sherman Williams paint store. Literally, I'd say less than 15 yards from my condo, and it was gone. Just totally gone.
You know, there was an Alabama football player.
You were lucky.
Alabama football player that
lost his
lived.
girlfriend.
He lost his girlfriend.
Carson Tinkard was holding his girlfriend in a closet, and the tornado hit, and he flew about, I don't know how many yards into a field, and she, of course, died. Yeah. But 53 people lost their lives in Tuscaloosa because of that tornado. And Tuscaloosa's really, I mean, if it would have hit DCA's hospital and the university, I can't imagine, you're talking about thousands of people would have died.
Yeah. Well, that was a sad thing.
I have never seen a tornado that big and wide. I mean, I remember seeing the footage that we've all seen by now. That thing coming towards really looked like downtown Tuscaloosa, but it was just massive.
One of my favorite restaurants was destroyed in that. That was at the 15th Street Diner. Is that right?
Well, I was in Full Moon Barbecue that day, and Full Moon Barbecue was off the map. Like, you couldn't even find it the next day. I mean, everything on 15th Street, it was just crazy. It was so chaotic. Watching parents trying to find their kids and kids trying to find their friends the next day. I mean, it was unbelievable. Johnny Williams, I think, rode around right after it happened.
He saw people. He actually was parked at a red light, and he saw people getting blown everywhere.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
It was one of those where there was a lake across 15th Street where Mike and Ed's barbecue was, and it got blown away too.
Yeah.
And for so many days at first, nobody that worked at the University of Alabama, and all the phones were down, and nobody could contact anybody, so you couldn't have any communication. And everybody was telling stories about how many people were in that pond. Like, I mean, they were thinking at one time there was maybe 1,000 people dead, and they couldn't find them. That they had flown, the bodies had flown all throughout Tuscaloosa. I mean, it was just a crazy scene.
Yeah.
Of course, that turned out just to be rumors. But
still,
I'll never forget. Dad was live on the air, and I'd driven into the campus, and I'd taken a back way to get to the University of Alabama. The campus, everybody was mowing grass, and people that were working, were out and about, and I mean, it was just a calm, you know, it was crazy. And then I went to try to get back to my condo, and it was like a war zone. It was like a bomb had gone off. It was just unbelievable.
10 years ago.
That was sad.
And, you know, it wasn't just Tuscaloosa. There were tornadoes all over the state that day. But
yeah, I think 250 people died throughout the state.
I want to mention Troy University has released their football schedule for next year, and they open up against Southern University on September the 4th. Then Liberty comes to town. Should be quite a game.
Mm-hmm. I look forward to that one.
Liberty University, and that's on the 11th. Georgia Southern comes in here on October the 9th, and then South Alabama
that'll be a big one.
Game on November the 6th, and Louisiana comes to town on the 13th of November.
That'll be a good one.
And then App State comes to town.
God, what a schedule!
With playing Georgia Southern, South Alabama, Louisiana, and Appalachian State at home, that's going to give Troy an opportunity, a real opportunity to win this conference.
Well, I think those are some of the best. That's maybe one of the best home schedules I can remember. It doesn't have the name, you know, the Mississippi State or somebody like that, or Navy coming in. But Liberty, everybody knows them. Georgia Southern, big rival, great tradition. South Alabama, big rival. Louisiana, a powerhouse in the conference now with a star coach. And App State, which is the big dog in the conference now.
And you know what? This is unreal. Now, this is just unreal. Season tickets start at $60. All right, $60. Well, if you went to an Alabama-Auburn game, it costs $125 just to get in the stadium.
For one ticket.
But what I'm saying, this is a bargain, if there ever was a bargain, to be able to buy a season ticket at $60. You could, your whole family could come for
that beautiful venue.
For $300, your whole season ticket.
What's the first game? September 4th?
September the 4th against Southern University. And I don't know why they're playing them, but they are playing them. And
you support the Trojans. You go to watch your team. And, and there are some great players on this team.
No question about it.
And we've talked about it. I mean,
you know, South Alabama. An article came out today that Jake Bentley is named South Alabama starting quarterback. You don't think South Alabama's going to get better with a guy that was a 2 or 3 year starter in South Carolina, starter at Utah last year?
Gosh, I didn't even know he was at
I forgot about that.
South Alabama, Mike.
Yeah, so I mean, Chip Lindsey. I want to watch Chip Lindsey and Brian Blackman coach him in high school at Opelika before Blackman left to go to Central Florida to coach Malzahn. I don't know how Bentley didn't line up at Troy.
Yeah, but he'll be the quarterback at Southern Miss.
South Alabama. Their new head coach Kane Womack has already announced him as the starter.
I wonder how many years of eligibility would he have?
Oh, he's only got one. This is his 6th year of college football.
Okay. But he's a good college quarterback, no question about it.
Yep, he's got quite a story. You know, he went to South Carolina when he was still in high school. He was quarterbacking South Carolina when he would have been a senior at Opelika High School.
Really, that's one of the very few I can ever remember doing that.
He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He's the real deal.
Oh yeah. And they're going to be good.
We get to see Jake Bentley quarterback against the Trojans. That's another reason to get your season tickets.
I'm glad that Troy is playing them at home too. That's the advantage for Troy there. And I tell you, like you said, Rice, when we read those out, this is one of the better home schedules you'll ever find at Troy. It's really good.
This is such a big year. I mean, you know, all those teams can beat Troy, except for Southern probably, but Troy can beat all of those teams too. Right. I just really momentum is so big in football. Once you start winning, it kind of creates more winning. And I would love to see Troy have a season like who's that team that the College of Charleston did, or what?
Coastal
Carolina. Yeah.
Just get that momentum going and keep winning, and finish in the top 15 in the country.
You know, I was looking at this I was seeing if they were consecutive, but now the South Alabama and the Louisiana game is consecutive, and then Saturday, November the 20th is it is consecutive. All right, so listen to this. South Alabama, Louisiana, and Alp State are all back to back to back.
3 weeks in a row?
Yes, sir. Boy, that's 3 weeks in a row, right at the end of the season. And, you know, this is how this is the opportunity to win a championship.
What's Troy's marquee out-of-conference game this year? We lost the Tennessee game last year. I wonder if we'll get to reschedule that.
I don't know.
Southern Miss was it, I guess.
The marquee game, yeah.
The money game.
Southern Miss.
Yeah. I'm glad we're playing Southern Miss. I hope we'll continue to play them. That's a good program. And
when you think of Southern Miss, what player do you think of?
What now?
You got a relationship with Athletic.
Oh yeah, no question about it. Yeah.
When you think of Southern Miss, what player first comes to mind?
Favre.
Yeah.
Favre.
Yeah, exactly.
What would be the second?
You know Brett Favre references from the greatest movies of all time.
What?
Something about Mary.
They call him Brett Favre?
Yeah, you don't remember when Ben Stiller calls him that? That's the movie with Ben Stiller and Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
Brett Favre's Cameron Diaz's boyfriend.
Yeah. That is funny.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
I love that movie.
This was great. How we were able to.
You know what I like that makes me chuckle? Well, there's two of them that make me chuckle. Talladega Nights makes me chuckle, and then The Water Boy with Adam Sandler.
You know who was the little kid that used to do commercials?
Yeah, from our neck of the woods.
Yeah, that was.
He was good.
Wait a minute. I need to correct everything. Troy goes to South Carolina. That's the big game, Bill.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I thought there was.
And look out! I think Troy's got a real chance to win that game. I really do.
You can't beat Beamer Ball.
Beamer Ball, yeah.
Beamer Ball?
You reckon?
No way, man.
You reckon his daddy's gonna be at the game? He'll probably be in the box.
In the box for sure. Yeah, he'll probably be on the sidelines.
Yeah, he was a great coach. He won a lot of games.
Well, he put it on Alabama one year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Up to the bowl game up there in Nashville.
Lattimore.
Was that the one you were thinking about? In Nashville in the Rose in the.
Yeah, Cornelius Griffin was a junior on that team.
And boy, I've never been so cold in my life. And then we left the game at halftime. It was that bad. Alabama was getting beat that bad.
I tell you what, Alabama played them in Atlanta one time though, and Dad and I were there.
And we wore them out.
Alabama just blew them out.
And they were supposed to be real good. Yeah, he was looking for a place. The coach was. But
I remember when Louisville dominated Alabama in a bowl game.
Hope you've enjoyed our show, Bill Rice Jr. and Mike from Graydon Beach, and me also sitting in here. But bear with me. I'm getting better and better, and hope to see you again tomorrow.
Then we'll see Forrest. Y'all go see Forrest at Brunswick Country Club
today in L.A. Who is that? The quarterback. You know, come up with the quarterback who played with Tucker Fredrickson. That was so good.
Bobby Lane.
No, sir.
Didn't Auburn have a quarterback?
Bobby Lane was a great quarterback. Where did he play his college ball, Bobby Lane?
What do you mean, his pro ball?
Yeah. Bobby Lane, the great pro quarterback. That's what
New York Giants.
Yeah, but where did he play his college ball? Where did Bobby Lane play?
I thought he played at Auburn.
No, he didn't play with Auburn. No.
Oh.
We'll be back tomorrow. See you then.